Good weekend, all. Ira Epstein with your financial market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the weekend of Saturday. I'm on that right now, October 11th, 2025. You know, if you look behind me, you can see what the stock market did. You do remember me saying, just shy of 2 weeks ago, that October is known for being often the most violent month of the year in terms of trade. Volatility goes bananas. You're there. Number two, we were overdue, well overdue for some type of correction in the stock market. We're getting it. It's not the end of the earth, but there are events taking place that are positive and are negative. So let's take a look at some news right now. There's no major government data that's going to be out on Monday. Even if it weren't for the government shutdown, even if it weren't, it's Columbus Day, as the president is now calling it. Major private data, not out either. China. On Wednesday, and I made mention, I said, China's doing something with the rare earths. And as it's turned out, it's accelerated. So they shut off rare earth and other critical minerals key to U.S. defense and technological applications, not just to the U.S., but to others. Why? Well, one way is they're probably getting tired of all the tariffs everybody's putting on them. Their economy's built on exports, and they're overwhelming other markets as they do that. Why? The government gives land at very low, if it could be free to build plants. Other monies, incentives, tells them how to produce, what they should produce, the quotas, too much, too little. Not a free economy, but when they export to other economies, they can overtake the local businesses. And that is part of the battle of the tariffs with the U.S. too. President Trump, in retaliation to this move, comes out and Thursday says he's going to threaten to add 100% tariffs on, and this in addition to the regular tariffs, on Chinese goods on November 1st, along with export controls on critical software that they use. So try to imagine, if they're using Microsoft, can they have that shut off? I don't know. We're going to find out, but I'm just giving you examples. The London Metal Exchange, here's another piece of something you should see. Are you watching silver prices? Remember what we had in the copper market a while ago when the copper prices took off? And they've taken off again, but the second round of taking off is because you've lost production. The first round of it, and I alerted you to it, was a squeeze. There's a squeeze going on right now in silver in London. The benchmark prices rose to near unprecedented levels. Silver stocks have declined over the years due to deficits in both production and increases in industrial applications. The free float, in other words, what's really available that you can play with in silver, because so much of it is today owned by ETFs. It's not coming back on the market. It's down 75% from a high of 850 million ounces in 2019 to about 200. The silver auction on Friday in London crossed for the first time ever $50. And if you're trying to go to London, and let's assume you have a short position, you try to borrow the silver, the annualized cost is now up over 100%. Wow. So you've now got another move there. The good news over the weekend is so far, the Hamas-Israeli truce is holding. We'll see if the hostages on both sides get released. You know, these things come and they fall apart at the last minute. We all have our fingers crossed. President Trump and leaders of many foreign countries will be Monday in Israel for the signing of the deal. So we will see what happens, all right? Wow, an awful lot. So gold took off. Now, I can tell you late in the day, you see this 440 level? You were up probably another $25. Remember, they settled silver at 12:30. Late in the day, the market kept going. You trade to 4 o'clock. The stock market, this was your 3 o'clock settlement. I saw it even lower than that as the market went on. You came apart in the energy markets. The world's scared right now. And when that happens, the bonds and the notes, they get massive bids. So as we take a look at the S&P, it's hard for me to say this because it's rolling off my tongue. We were down 2% so far for the month. We're only into the 11th, but so far a down. Oh my gosh. On the silver weekly chart, you were down 2.5% on a closing basis, and you can see what's going on here. Now, coming into the day, silver looked pretty good to me. I'm not silver, the S&P looked good, and obviously this has created some issues. You have not taken out on a weekly chart the last swing line lows. You have not even gone back to the 18-week moving average of closes yet, which is where I look for support. That'll come in at about 64.16. That number will climb a little bit when we reopen on Sunday night. You went right back up into the range of the upper Bollinger Band again. Missed it this time by about 20 points on the weekly chart. And then the market gave you the reversal. And now if you take a look on the chart, you lost your bullish embedded reading for the first time since all the way back here. We're talking the June time frame. So, as I said, nothing grows to the sky forever. You've heard me say that all of last week. And I also told you that if you're a trend trader, at the very end, when the market corrects a bit, you're going to give back some money on your trade. I think that's all played out the exact way that I thought. You lost the bullish reading here in the Dow on the weekly basis. You might be headed back to the weekly chart of 44,960. On the NASDAQ, you lost the bullish embedded reading on a weekly basis for the first time. And in the Russell, you haven't. It's the only one that hasn't so far, which is sort of interesting. It's been the weakest. If you take a look at the old highs here, this market just crossed it and it's getting basically thrown right back. Now, is this a game of chicken between the two presidents? Could be. Is this a game where China prepared for this? Absolutely. They knew what they were doing. They knew when they were going to do it. They saw the U.S.'s first reaction to the rare earths being pulled back from them. They realized the weakness. They see the U.S. is putting money into companies everywhere they can, especially in the rare earths. They're trying, but you can't get them going 1, 2, 3. So the question is, how much pain can the U.S. put onto China and other nations so that the rare earths come back on from China? They are the main market for that puts it out. In the DAX, we'll see how Europe reacts to all this, because you got to remember, those markets were already closed as all this was going on. So it'll be interesting. It pulled back to the 18-week average of closes. In the bonds, you can see you're right up and over the upper Bollinger Band now and at the 100-week average of closes, and you're overbought. But when you get this type of situation, anything can happen. In the 10-year notes, we'll see if we can get up to the 200-week average. The one thing that's good out of it, you're going to see mortgages drop again, all right, because they're tied to that 10-year in a big way. In the dollar, it took off. Now, I do appreciate one of you did write me over the basement talking about the M2 on YouTube, and I appreciate that. And I know that. I wrote a paper 20 years ago when, God, who was, I forgot who was the Fed chair at that time, but it's over 20 years ago. And I explained M1, M2, and M3. The problem with the explanation given is that's always going on. It's rare that a country doesn't spend more and more every year, and it's rare that they take down their budget deficit. That's been the problem. So it's not just the U.S. I guess it's a race to see who's doing a worse job of it. Maybe that's a better explanation, but I agree with exactly what was written to me. When you take a look here at the upper Bollinger Band, you're at it. Will there be add-on? If the war of words keeps going, yes, the dollar probably goes a bit more. The euro coming back down here, as you can see, pushing the 115 level. The Canadian dollar still falling apart, oversold, yes. Japanese yen letting go because of what's going on with the government there. Now, with all this going on, I haven't kept up the past few days with where we're at, but we're waiting for Parliament to approve the new Prime Minister. In Bitcoin, did not do a very good job. This market's down for the week, 5%. Gold soaring. This is coming down. So it's one of those funny assets. Some people say, oh, this is what you want to own in place of gold. I hear these arguments all the time. And the logic is there. You don't have to carry around in your pocket, in theory, ounces of gold galore. I get it. I do understand that. I'm not bearish, don't get me wrong, but it's just not right now as in vogue as gold is. When you look at the differential between Brent and WTI crude, you're still hanging here near the $4 mark. Been doing that for a while. Look at how this let go, and notice how it also stopped at your lower Bollinger Band here too. So I think a lot of shorts might have been covering on Friday, wanting to see this war of words between the U.S. and China heat up or not. You can see what's coming here. And another reason for energy down, you've taken out the element of the war. If Israel and Hamas are making peace and it can hold, and we all have our fingers crossed that it holds and that this all gets rebuilt, well, that you've just taken away one of the bullish items there, because we've always been worried something's going to go crazy, be it Yemen, be it Hamas. You know, there's always something that you're worried about there. So you put it together, and that's what you're dealing with. Now, I'm going to be covering this in big detail Monday, Tuesday, and so on. If you don't get my newsletter, go and get it, because I cover this like I'm telling you about the silver. How many of you even knew that was going on? Just move your cursor to the top up here. You'll see, especially right there, if you're watching me on YouTube, a circle that you click, it'll take you right to the area where you can get all that. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great weekend, what's left of it at least, and it is beautiful. And I will catch up with all of you in the other videos tonight or over the weekend and Monday morning when we do the Market Watch, the first part of it. Take care.